What if one of the hardest life paths isn't being very overlooked, but actually being very seen? What if beauty comes with a cause that no one is ever talking about? Because it might sound very arrogant to just say out loud that some women are indeed very beautiful. No one's talking about the fact that how is this beauty shaping our society and our relationship, and what is the trauma behind beauty? How much it will cost your relationship as a beautiful woman, how much it will cost your identity, the fact that you were maybe born beautiful, and how much will it cost your destiny. Today I'm revealing the hidden side of being a beautiful woman in a society, the part that society would never acknowledge because we don't dare to talk about it. Hi, my name is Tony. I'm a coach and a therapist and a pharmacist, and on my channel I'm talking about transgenerational trauma that getting out of the matrix, so to say, and everything that's trauma, how to release it for good to have an integrated self. So one of the teachers I've learned a lot, and I love this man, I absolutely love this man, is Dr. John Demartini and his value system teaching method. What I learned from him is that he teaches that the world operates on value hierarchies. And every society ranks what it considers to be important in men and in women. So we have our own value system of what is important to me. It might not be important to you, or what I value the most. Maybe you don't value the same thing. And how can we be compatible, and how can we live as a society knowing that we have our own values? But whether we like this or not, one of the strongest and the most persistent values globally placed on women is to be physically beautiful. We can argue that it shouldn't be this way. I know we can say that beauty is extremely subjective. We can say all the body positive, nice affirmation movements. We can insist that we personally value intelligence, kindness, or depth more than appearance. But if this would be so, then many more people would watch YouTube channels of 60, 70-year-old peoples, which I know I have, and I have learned a lot from them. But a lot of people click off because they're not just as beautiful, or not as young, or not as something. So let's talk about this. Everything that is our reality currently, that in today's world, a woman's physical attractiveness is still treated as her highest social currency. So what does this mean? It means that when someone steps into a room, a beautiful woman, it's impossible not to notice her looks. It's just impossible. Whether she's born with it, whether she's with makeup, it doesn't matter. When a beautiful woman enters into a room, automatically people assign a certain value to her. Beauty becomes a form of social capital. It's a sort of power. She's elevated in the eyes of society, and because of that, people assume that she must have had an easy life, endless opportunities, and emotional fulfillment, all of that. So all the public conversations focus on how difficult it is to be a woman who is not considered beautiful. They never say about how difficult it is for a woman that is beautiful. So let's see this opposite story, the challenges of being a beautiful woman. For the sake of awareness, I want to outline why being a beautiful woman comes with not just a set of really big difficulties, but it can actually be traumatizing for a woman. We now know from epigenetics and transgenerational psychology, which means that what we have inherited from our ancestors, we do not come into this life as a baby with a blank slate. We don't. We inherit emotional patterns, survival strategies, and belief systems from the generations before us. We also inherit our genes, and we get a certain type of body and a face. So these inherited genetics and epigenetics program create a kind of internal matrix, so to say, a predictable life path that repeats itself throughout different people, different circumstances, until it becomes conscious in us. So we all have lessons to learn, and as a baby we already get that matrix, get those lessons. And if we come to think about it, people say it as past lives. I'd rather talk about generational healing because this is actually provable, and it has been proven already. Every lineage, every generational lineage carries its own advantages and disadvantages, and women who inherit the pattern of being physically beautiful also inherit a very specific form of contrast when they are born or when they start to grow up. And the contrast, the life lesson is they have a lower likelihood of finding a truly compatible partner. Yes, and I'm saying this, a really beautiful woman will have a much more lower likelihood of finding a compatible partner and not being actually seen for herself. Why does this happen? Because in our current social structure, female beauty is given a disproportionate value. Man can increase his self-esteem and his value simply by appearing on his arm with a beautiful woman, and he's already more. They say, oh my God, he's an alpha male because he has that woman on his side. So her beauty becomes something he uses to feel better about himself, not something he is prepared to meet with emotional maturity, depth, or genuine compatibility. This is why the same relational dynamic keeps repeating even when the faces change, until the underlying epigenetic pattern, meaning all the traumatic things that we have inherited from our ancestors, until these become conscious, the matrix keeps generating the same lesson for a beautiful woman. You are never going to be seen for who you really are. They are only going to see your looks. A beautiful woman is someone a lot of people desire, but the people who desire her are not necessarily compatible with her. Most are drawn to her for the reason that has nothing to do with what she actually is. And because society places such an inflated value on female beauty, the majority of those who pursue her are doing so for self-esteem enhancement, social validation, and not genuine compatibility. Meaning no one wants to be with a beautiful woman for who she really is, but how she looks on his side. This was the past. This created a very specific dynamic psychologically for a beautiful woman because she ends up searching for a needle in a haystack. And the real problem is that everybody is approaching her pretending to be that needle. So a lot of men will pretend in front of a beautiful woman because they have secondary gains that they do not want to tell the woman, obviously. So it's important to pause here because relationships for beautiful women become a kind of minefield, and there is no psychology book talking about this, believe me. I've done the psychology universities, I've done the degrees, I've done a lot of things, I've read 1,000 books, I read my whole life, and there's nothing talking about this. So this is why a relationship can be very painful if you're a beautiful woman, because your life becomes painful. And let's see what's the deeper mechanism coming into this. To transgenerational conditioning and epigenetic imprinting, many men internalize a subconscious transaction around beauty. Being with a beautiful woman makes me feel better about myself, and it makes the other men think more highly of me. Just think about Marilyn Monroe or whoever. If someone appeared with a beautiful woman, it meant that if she chose the alpha woman, chose the alpha male, so to say, it already made him feel like an alpha. So this transaction is rarely spoken about, never agreed upon, but it almost always unconsciously governs behavior, because most of our behavior is unconscious. So if a beautiful woman does anything that disrupts this unspoken agreement, such as expressing normal human needs or giving honest feedback or setting boundaries or behaving in a way that doesn't fit the trophy image, the partner perception of her will shift because he idealized her from the beginning. Because first he withdraws his idealization of her, then he withdraws the relationship. And the threshold for breaking this hidden contract is extremely low. Because in many people's internal world, a beautiful woman is not treated as a person, she's treated as a symbol, as an object, or a status maker. Finding someone who wants a genuine, reciprocal, person-to-person connection with a beautiful woman is far more difficult than people realize. The good news is that it doesn't matter if you're a beautiful woman or the ugliest woman in the world, not that there would be such a thing. It doesn't matter what kind of woman or man you are actually, because the more we integrate from our psyche, the more capacity we have to integrate our unconscious mind, the more whole we become from an integrated state of being. You can be the most beautiful woman in the world, or I don't want to say the ugliest because I don't believe in ugliness, but let's just say that you can look however you want to look. You will still manifest the man of your dreams, or you will manifest the woman of your dreams, the more integrated state you have. But what I'm telling in this video is that beautiful women have this matrix trauma, meaning if they were born beautiful, probably were born with this shadow side that they are not seen for themselves, for who they are. One of the biggest misconceptions is that beautiful women are never rejected. In reality, beautiful women are the most rejected groups, but the rejection is disguised. Since I was 16, I've been a model. I've been modeling a lot when I was young, and I've been around all these beautiful women. Like I swear, one was more beautiful than the other. But they get rejected. They cry a lot. They had all these types of pains in the inside. From the outside, come on, you were modeling. We were like going to fashion shows and so on. Always the model girls, we look like oh my God, all the men wanted to be with us. But everybody thought we have endless options. But if you would know what I've seen inside those groups of women, none of them knew who they are, first of all. They had no identity. They had no idea who they were. And almost none of them tried to find out. And no one even talked about this, that there are actually trauma types, that this is a type of trauma that we can experience that because of how socially people look at beautiful women, you can clearly try to find something that is being blocked by your appearance. Even in modeling, people were lining up for a fantasy, not for the person. They projected an idealized image onto that person, and when the women, anyone from the models that I have been in touch with or worked with or even being on runways with, and let's talk about this insecurity, both in men and women, because we are a very insecure world right now. People are insecure in general, especially when it comes to their partners. So here's the pattern. Men would stay friends with the beautiful women until they get her into a relationship. Then she becomes a threat to their new partner's insecurities, and to keep the peace, they will cut her off. And still, we are at the chapter of socialization. Women will stay friends with beautiful women until they get in a relationship. Then the fear kicks in. What if my man prefers her? And then again, the beautiful woman is pushed out to protect the couple or to protect someone else's insecurity. So what is the brutal truth? Beautiful women are not socially popular, they are socially abandoned. You have no idea during my life around how many beautiful women have I been, and most of them were stunning but isolated. And believe me, most of them in the daytime, you will not find them on Tinder or clubbing at night. A tiny number of them, yeah, they do. But those women who are actually very worthy because they are authentic, they know only a tiny number of these people can handle the insecurity that beauty triggers. So let's talk about another aspect, the jilted lover dynamic. There's a question whether a man can stay just friends with a beautiful woman without developing sexual attraction or projecting fantasies onto her. And when she rejects him, not the friendship, but at a certain point she rejects him as a lover or anything more than being friends, his ego often shatters. He flips from admiration to hostility, as if she personally attacked him. And this also happens in breakups. Beautiful women experience the least amicable type of separation because the wounded ego turns vindictive very fast. And yes, the dynamic shows up in the same-sex relationships as well. A jilted lover is not just emotionally unsafe, sometimes it's physically unsafe. You don't need to watch crime documentaries to understand this. And beauty triggers the human ego in the same way as money does, or in the same way as fame does. It activates comparison, it activates insecurities in people, and thinking about it's just me and or them, I need to secure her. When the ego is so triggered, people stop considering what the other person's well-being is. So this is what beautiful women learn repeatedly, that they cannot trust easily. Girls hate them. In case they love them only until one of them gets a guy, and then suddenly it's too bad because both of them are beautiful, and it's impossible. A man is a predator. He will look at another woman. So people start to play these power games and these psychological games. And for a woman, sometimes it's enough to only exist, to sit down in a certain place, and she will be already a trigger. Not to say when a woman has a certain kind of exuberance to her, the ego gets activated. All the worst human behavior comes out. Jealousy, envy, competition, blame, criticism, what did I leave out? Judgment, superiority battles, parasitic dynamics, projection, betrayal especially. So to make it worse, people expect the beautiful woman to manage their insecurities, tone down your appearance so the other women will feel better. Don't be too friendly because men will get ideas. Don't smile too much. Don't exist too loudly. I love the movie Barbie because it's exactly about this. So the woman becomes responsible for regulating everybody else's ego and nervous system simply because she was born beautiful or because she likes to take care of her appearance. And I do think society needs to wake up a little bit and recognize that this is called psychological abuse. And what is worse, if you're the envious one, if you're the one who, and the beautiful woman can be envious as well, but be careful what energy you put out, because the energy you put out into the world is the energy that you are getting back. The thing is, you're not getting back from the same person. You will get it back from the exact same place where you don't want to get it back, because our ancestry lines trauma, they repeat in our lives, which mean that everything that you put out, someone already did that in your ancestry line, so you will not have any other choice but to get it back in the same way. So let's give a few examples of this. Don't be too friendly. I had this said a few times, that don't be too friendly. Men give the wrong idea. I actually did this to myself. I persecuted myself. Okay, you shouldn't be too friendly, Tony. It's not okay. Men will get the wrong idea. And even though I smiled anywhere just politely, it felt like I was leading someone on. I was flirting. I cannot be my happy, jovial self. I'm a very, very childish-like, happy person. I come into the room and I'm like a bubble of light because I like to be very, very happy. I know the time when I need to be very serious, and I know the time when I can play or I can be happy or anything. But the moment I try to be just myself, I am accused of flirting, of leading someone on, or stealing someone's boyfriend when I didn't even look at the man, or oh my god, I should look at the corner, because in the moment I'm in a social setting, I am expected to monitor my tone, monitor my friendliness, my body language, of course, but not because I did anything wrong. I was just standing in a room, so people can't regulate their own fantasies or insecurities. This doesn't mean someone just has to be beautiful. There are all types of fetishes in the world. Someone can have a fetish for maybe an obese woman. It doesn't have to be just typical beauty. But there is something with the beautiful women who are expected to step back, to look down, or to disappear to protect someone else's insecurities. Many women, and this I experience with a lot of my friends and women I've worked with, many women are very afraid to reject men because, oh my god, his ego, his defense mechanisms can handle it. Like when a woman says no to a man, she's the one who's stepping on eggshells, like, yeah, but maybe we'll get angry, or will he insult me, or what if he turns against me, will he be obsessive? Like, these are real problems. If we cannot say no to a man because we are afraid he'll get obsessive with us, this is a problem, because we will have the fear of rejecting men in a way to protect the feeling of a beautiful woman, even if the man didn't care about hers. Or the other social media problem is, don't post that photo. Women will hate you for it. People do not dare to share themselves the way they want to share themselves, because she uploads a normal photo of herself. Suddenly she's showing off, she's attention seeking, she's trying to make others feel bad. She's expected to censor her own existence so that others don't feel insecure. Can you understand what I'm saying? Existence. Nothing matters more to the subconscious mind than the fact that we can exist in peace and that we are welcomed onto this world. When we are expected to censor the existence, our existence, this is a basic insecurity on Maslow's pyramid, where actually our existence is threatened. And another problem is to don't talk about your problems. Like, people will say, really, you have problems, you're beautiful. They expect beautiful women to not open up about loneliness, rejection, or mistreatment, because she will hear, oh yeah, you're beautiful, you have no problems, you should be grateful, look at how you look, people would kill to look like you. Her pain is invalidated because others project fantasies onto her. They believe if they couldn't get something with their looks, she can, and that she will. This is the worst. Don't outshine people. Another one. They resent you. All these advices. A beautiful woman, if she gets a promotion, a compliment, or an attention, people will instantly assume that she didn't earn it. Women will resent her, men sexualize her. Everyone expects her to downplay her success so that others don't feel small. I have 2 university degrees, and I have been learning the past 18 years of my life. No one believed me, because a beautiful woman becomes like a shock absorber for everyone else's insecurities, and they project onto her what they believe beauty should be. Now, imagine a girl who was never seen by her parents, having big emotional wounds of not being seen and loved in childhood, which is the majority of people, by the way. She was not loved for herself, and then experiencing this attitude in adulthood, everybody projecting onto her beauty. She's punished for existing in a way that triggers people's unresolved wound of beauty. And then she's blamed for the reactions she didn't actually cause. It is cruel. This is actually cruel. Being a beautiful woman often creates a life that is far more painful than most people want to admit it. You don't believe me? Let's go back in history. I love history because I can work with generational trauma, and history is a very good indicator that everything is just repeating itself. If you doubt it, let's remember the witch trials, shall we? Men or priests who felt overwhelmed by their own arousal blamed the woman of bewitching them and punish them for it. Just because men were priests and society said they were not allowed to have sexual intercourse, that didn't mean that they never got aroused. In fact, their mind tried to respond it this way because it wasn't socially acceptable. It didn't make it any less real biologically that he had carnal desires as well as anybody else, because we have our own biology. Society will never push away biology. Society will never be stronger than biology. Or people used to punish the witches because they were very intuitive and relied on their feminine intuition. And clearly they got results which meant that they were intelligent. So you get the picture. People projecting their own incapacity to regulate themselves or to integrate the parts of themselves that they pushed away from them, got beautiful women killed and burned at the stake. The good news is we don't burn women at the stake anymore, as far as I know, but society has invented modern version of the same punishment. Public shaming, character assassination, and cancel culture. Takedowns aimed at beautiful women who trigger people's insecurities. And yes, I know what you're thinking. I am aware that the opposite exists because we live in a dual universe. Everything will have its own opposite side. I'm just taking this theme in this video. Society claims to reject the idea that a woman's value is based on beauty, yet it operates exactly the same way. The contradiction creates a double bind. Beautiful women are simultaneously idealized and demonized, the duality of the universe. So they're constantly feeding negative messages. She's pretty, so she must be shallow. She's beautiful, so she doesn't deserve sympathy. She's attractive, she must be really stupid. Meanwhile, the good-natured, unattractive women, nothing against anyone, is framed as the one who deserves love. The typical housewife. Don't put on makeup, don't do this, don't do that. Remember the man who used to say this? While the beautiful woman who dares to put on the makeup is treated like as she needs to be knocked off her pedestal that she actually never asked maybe to stand on. Because of this, beautiful women are rarely allowed to be intelligent, complex, or emotionally deep. People cannot reconcile beauty with brilliance. It's a cognitive dissonance to them because of the stereotypes. They cannot imagine a beautiful woman discussing philosophy, leading research, or winning a Nobel Prize. And when she suffers, her pain is dismissed. Her sadness is treated like a joke. Her struggles are seen as ungrateful. Her tears are treated like the tears of royalty, too privileged to matter. You're beautiful. Shake it off of yourself, right? We heard this, we see this in movies. Being a beautiful woman is like living in a fishbowl. You attract constant attention and with it constant scrutiny. It's like you can't even go to a restaurant and know that you won't be judged. How does that feel to knowing that every moment that you appear somewhere, someone will judge you whether you asked for it, whether you wanted it, whether you didn't? Because a beautiful woman will attract constant attention. Every move will be watched. How she sits, she's judged, she's interpreted. It's a pressure that never turns off unless you become extremely secure in yourself and you learn to integrate it in yourself so that it won't bother you. Because beauty intimidates people. The only ones bold enough to approach beautiful women are the ones who are not intimidated at all, and often because they lack empathy or boundaries, or the rescuers who wait for her to be vulnerable so that they can swoop in. This dramatically increases the likelihood of attracting people who are dangerous psychologically, narcissists, sociopaths, and other types of antisocial behavior type of people. Rescuers are not safe. They often have such a low self-esteem that they need the beautiful woman to stay broken, dependent, or on the floor to feel secure. I know, I had these types of men, I know what I'm talking about. The moment I wanted to open my wings, as my mother would say, they all left me with my problems or anything. Suddenly they didn't want to save me the moment that I become my own authentic self, when I didn't back down and didn't need saving. So this is the hidden reality. Beauty doesn't protect women, it exposes them. It makes them target for projections, for envy, for ego battles, and predatory behavior. All while society insists that they should be grateful for the attention. There are countless genuine good people. A beautiful woman would never meet a good man, a real man. And I'm saying this to women because I work with a lot of women and I want beautiful women to know that there are these men. You wouldn't believe how many beautiful women think good men don't exist. They don't believe it because these men, and dear man, please, you should listen to, because men are intimidated. All those good, nice-hearted, really, really kind men, they are intimidated by the beautiful woman. Come on, guys, go for it, please. It's sad. It's sad what I can see as a therapist or a coach, that women come to me, and back then I worked as a coach, and I remember that, these women like, but there are no good men. And I was like, yes, they are. Yes, they are. But the problem, which is a real problem, that really good, nice men, they do have this little self-esteem problem maybe. And you know how I know that? Because they were social psychology studies made. Research was made on this, and people literally increase physical distance when passing an attractive woman on the street. There are several studies. You will find it in the description box below. Studies found that both men and women unconsciously step farther away from highly attractive women during everyday interactions. It looks small, but it increases a life of constant social distance and deep isolation. People erase a beautiful woman woman's merit. This is where I used to be very triggered myself, because I'm a really hardworking woman. I'm a woman who learned a lot since I was a child. And I've had many other people in my shoes. No matter how hard a woman works or she's competent, people assume her success was handed to her because of her looks. Actually, this is vice versa. The looks are making it worse to succeed. Studies in organizational psychology show that attractive women are less likely to be hired for positions requiring authority, leadership, or technical competence. And if the hiring manager is a woman who perceives the candidate as more attractive than herself, and she's jealous, the candidate's chances drop even further. Beauty becomes a liability in an environment where competence is required. Many beautiful women were never discovered for who they truly are. Many women from childhood, the focus is placed on their appearance. They're praised for how they look and not for who they are. Their identity becomes externally constructed, a projection of what others want them to be. They're rarely encouraged to explore their inner world, their boundaries, their preferences, their own identity, talents, or personality. And many times the uniqueness of these types of women aren't even unwrapped. It's overwritten, which will lead to identity confusion, emotional emptiness, difficulty forming intimate connections, and a deep sense of being unseen and a lack of trust in the world, because people don't want them for their personalities. Everybody wants to relate to the image, not the person. And the classical: if a man cheats on a beautiful woman, she is the one to blame. If a man simply looks at her, she is the one to blame. If she is sexually harassed, assaulted, as we can see in many countries, she's the one to blame. Why did you wear that skirt? And I am not talking about extremisms here, okay? I'm not talking about women who expose themselves way too much. Believe me, I am talking about normal women who actually are more liked by their appearance. That's all. I'm not saying here Miss Universe or anything. I'm just talking about the fact that any kind of beautiful attraction, something that is admired, attracts a lot of attention. Clearly, every woman should have standards about herself, about how she is treated, what message she gives out with the way that she communicates herself, her body. I'm not saying that some women are indeed more eccentric and that it might be too much socially speaking, but this is more of an awareness of what projections do we put on beauty. And why I also make this video is because many beautiful women have no idea that they feel this way. They have no idea that their emotions were so valid. So we have a lot of victim blaming a woman for her appearance, and this is rooted actually in evolutionary psychology and cultural conditioning. People unconsciously treat beauty as a provocation, even though the responsibility lies with the perpetrator. We live in a world where it's interesting that you can put diamonds in a shop, you can window shop, you can buy, so you can put out the diamond, but if someone can find the urge to steal a diamond from the store, that's called a thief. Yet if a perpetrator cannot contain themselves because there's a beautiful woman in front of him, then she's the one who is considered the perpetrator or the one who is provocative. Come on. There's a scientific part in this. Studies show that when an attractive woman is friendly, people interpret it as flirtation even when her behavior is identical to that of the less attractive woman. This is documented cognitive bias, not imagination. She is punished for being polite. She is punished for existing. She's punished for being visible. Beauty doesn't protect women like diamonds are protected. If we see their value, it exposes them, and the world still expects them to be grateful for the attention they get. Just because all of the people that came with different genetic backgrounds cannot experience this. Or what I see many times is that many women don't even want to be beautiful. They don't even want to be prettier. Let's be honest. In today's age, I don't think that there's a woman who cannot be beautiful. If we take strictly beauty. In today's age, a man can become a beautiful woman. No offense to anyone, but I'm just making a point here. So this increases the chance of every single woman to look better, prettier if they really wanted to. But there are many women and their shadow sides who only want to criticize the beautiful woman but doesn't want to become her. So beautiful women grow up with the message that your value is only your looks, and that message becomes a trap. She's never loved for anything deeper. They don't even want to know what she has in the depth of her soul. Yet she's terrified of losing the only thing that she ever was told to make her desirable. And as beautiful women age, this is why they are very afraid to become invisible, because they are a toy everyone once wanted, then threw it away. The emotional pain of not being seen for yourself, just for your beauty, it's excruciating, because then she doesn't want to get older because no one sees her for anything other than her beauty. And the more beautiful a woman is perceived to be, the harsher the backlash. People talk about pretty privilege, but they never talk about the price. And the truth is, most people would never pay that price if they were to choose it. So let's see people who actually are judging beautiful women, because there's a psychology to that too. Almost any woman can become beautiful nowadays by societal standards, filters, fillings, styling, editing, whatever. So instead of celebrating beauty, people attack it. They tear down beautiful women because their beauty triggers a part of themselves that they have emotionally repressed. And I can give you an example of what happened to me on a workshop I gave in one of my workshops in Hungary. A woman came up to me afterwards and said that she almost didn't attend my workshop of generational healing and trauma healing workshop because she was curious what a woman who looks like you could possibly heal inside of me, and what is in that pretty little head of yours. And my workshop was about generational healing, trauma, to have an integrated self, healing the shadow parts, healing the nervous system with somatic experiences and so on. And as I said, I have 2 degrees. I'm a pharmacist, I'm a therapist, I'm a coach, not saying I spent most of my life studying, and no one saw that in me. The thing that this woman, and she actually said it, that she saw was that she was pleasantly surprised at the end, but the comment that she gave me, that what's in that pretty little head of yours, revealed something deeper. People project their own insecurities onto the beauty and then punish the woman for it. The workshop was great, everything was great, and then at the end, that's why she dared to say it, because she felt so safe with me that she knew that she can even say this to me, that, okay, I didn't think you had something in that pretty little head of yours. And I was like, okay, I understand. But then I reversed it onto her, because this was her projection onto me of herself. And I asked, where don't you see your own beauty? Why do you think that I am beautiful and you are not? Where have you repressed your own beauty? And this is exactly the exercise I want to give it to yourself. If you have any kind of problems with human beauty, be careful what you judge. It will always come back to you. You don't have to believe me. You can try it out for yourself. What we judge in someone else is usually the exact thing that we buried inside of ourselves. Or parents, grandparents, and so on never let us have that. So if you resent beauty in another woman, whether you're a man, you're a woman, it doesn't matter. Or if you're a beautiful woman and you resent other beautiful women, then you're rejecting your own beauty. Not just physical beauty, but the deeper kind. The beauty that comes from alignment, the beauty that comes from integration, the energy that you radiate when someone is so fully authentic in themselves. So ask yourself, where have I rejected my own beauty and why? In what other area of my life am I gaining much more with this? Or what would I lose if I upgraded my beauty in other areas of my life? This is the real Marilyn Monroe effect. Marilyn wasn't the most symmetrical woman in the room, but when she switched on her confidence, her alignment, her embodied femininity, she became magnetic. Her beauty wasn't just physical, it was psychological, it was energetic beauty. It was the power of someone who knows how to inhabit themselves. And that's the tragedy of the most beautiful women. They're never taught how to build that kind of beauty that doesn't age, because it's energy. It's not outward appearance. They're taught only how to maintain physical appearance, the surface, the part society obsesses on and then discards them. If a beautiful woman doesn't integrate her shadow side so that she can ooze the energy of beauty, so that she can feel beautiful in herself, so that she can put up boundaries. Beauty is energy. It's how you feel on the inside. Emotions, energy in motion. Emotion is energy in motion. I love this word. How much you love your own company, how good you feel in your own skin without what others think of you. And as you raise your vibration, you will attract less and less of narcissists or people who actually want to use you. The more you start to integrate your inner selves, the more you integrate your shadow sides, the more you integrate all the pain that you have been through, maybe being bullied by being beautiful or whatever kind of problems, the more you integrate, the less you will have anything to do with that kind of resonance, with that kind of people who will only see you or be envious of you or be mean to you. And you can lose the fear of aging. Privilege without safety, without intimacy, without identity, without being seen, it's not a privilege, it's a cage. So if you want to understand how this ties into the bigger picture, the life you think you're living versus the illusions that you've been conditioned to live, watch my other video. Are you living your dream life or the illusion of a dream life? Sign up to my channel, subscribe, like this video, share it with other beautiful women and men, good men, and see you on the next video. Bye.